This is how many Brazilian people say they won't watch the 2026 World Cup. Yes, and if you look at the tendency, it's frightening. 30% of Brazilians supported Argentina over Brazil in the 2022 World Cup. How is it possible that the most successful national team in the world is now not being supported by their own fans?
I don't feel as proud anymore.
How come this feeling of pride in the world of football has turned sour, making Brazilians not so proud anymore?
Well, you're not the one feeling the L's, bro. We're taking the L's, not you.
This is André. He's been following the Canarinha since he was born, and even saw them lift the World Cup in 2002. I asked my friend Rodrigo to interview him to dive into the feeling.
I don't feel that I even own a jersey that represents something from back in the day.
To understand what's really happening, let's have a look at what the Seleção really was. Brazil is a national team that, like many others, historically relied on heroes. Ronaldo in 2002 was the last one that actually achieved the goal the heroes look for, lifting the World Cup.
Ronaldo was my first idol. He scored both goals in the final.
2002, Yokohama, Japan. Ronaldo's Brazil got revenge for the 1998 loss beating Germany. In Germany, 2006, they had to defend their title. Ronaldinho had won the Ballon d'Or in 2005. Ronaldo had more experience. Kaká was shining like never before and Adriano was balling in Italy. It was a team of heroes, the Quadro Mágico, where everybody was a star. But the team didn't work as great as 4 years earlier, and a strong French side defeated them 1-0. The ex-campeões dream was gone. 2010 was in South Africa, and there was a change in the philosophy. Dunga was the new manager. Kaká went over Ronaldinho. The idea was clear. Discipline and balance were flair. But then, by the end of the decade, another Brazilian kid was rising through the ranks to become the next national hero, Neymar Jr.
How did you experience Neymar's rise?
He was my hero.
But again, disappointment. Neymar didn't go to the World Cup and the Netherlands beat them in the quarterfinals. And once again, Brazil were leaving the World Cup at the same time as nations like Paraguay or Ghana.
I thought, well, the gap is really, getting closer. Unthinkable happened. And then I really realized we're destroying the 5 stars.
However, there was a spark of hope. Brazil were hosting the next World Cup. A more mature Neymar was ready to shine in his own soil. Brazilians had once again a hero that was destined to become their next idol. But in the Castelao Stadium, Fortaleza, against Colombia, the prince fell before the crown could be claimed. And the tragedy had already begun. Brazil won, but at a huge cost. Neymar was out. And then July the 8th came. The rest is history.
The only word you can think of is total disbelief right now.
Brazil's rock bottom. Time moved on, but the scars remained. 2018 and 2022 were pretty much the same, despite some fans like André still being hopeful.
In which of the World Cups that he played on did he seem the most prepared?
Am I too crazy if I say 2022? That, he was prepared for that Argentina game, I believe.
Curiously, the Seleção won the 2019 Copa America against Peru in their home soil. But it seems like that hardly even matters to them.
Not really. I watched it. I remember where I watched it. It's the only thing that really matters for us is the World Cup.
And as if that wasn't enough, Brazil had to witness the Argentinian hermanos lift the 2022 World Cup. And it was not only the Argentinians who were happy with that. Many people had lost interest and the pain was too big. A feeling of disconnection with the national team was in the air, as if no football player could really represent a nation who once had Ronaldo Nazario, Pelé, or Garrincha. But that's the key to answer this graph.
And that brings a connection. So, living in the South and having friends in the South, I know that they are rooting for Argentinians because maybe they see themselves more in Uruguay and Argentina than they see themselves in Brazil currently.
Humans are attracted to stories. Football for itself is meaningless. In order to succeed, you need a culture that provides meaning to it. Brazil's downhill began specifically 2010. Dunga didn't just change the system, but the story Brazil was telling about itself. He had no choice though, as Brazil's biggest pain point was how strong they were. Simply put, there was too much pride, too much ego, but too much talent. If you look at every World Cup champion since it's been broadcasted on TV, you will see how each team have a clear narrative center, a player, idea or generation that owed the cup to its people. In 86, Maradona, in 84, Romario, in 02 it was Ronaldo, and in 2018, Mbappé. In 2022, it was Leo Messi. After losing the 2014 final, stepping away from the national team, and finding his way back, it couldn't be anyone else. The story was so great, it even unified Brazilians. 30% of them. So the 2026 World Cup is at our doorstep, and the Selecão Brasileira doesn't seem to have a crystal clear hero yet. Who will it be? Neymar's name still looms in the background.
Things more and deeper. So yes, I thought he was going to bring us the World Cup. If I may be honest, some part of me deep down still believes that.
Mature players like Rodrigo and Vini Jr. have questionable performances, and youngsters like Estevao and Hendrik are getting the spotlight.
I guess that the name is Rodrigo. Who I like him as a team player. He's a team player, rationally speaking. Not with the heart, but rationally speaking.
Yeah.
I think Rodrigo.
I guess that only time will tell us. Today there's no story to be told, no feelings in there. In fact, when André speaks, he draws a line between his feelings and his rational side. How is someone supposed to connect with a national team that has no arc? No story. A team of players who represent nobody, and nobody feels represented by them.
I don't feel as proud anymore. There's not much to be proud of currently.
During early 2025, the CBF were finally able to sign Carlo Ancelotti as new Brazil manager, a new philosophy proven to work with some players like Vinicius and Rodrigo. And despite the lack of interest by some Brazilian fans, we know for a fact that a few wins in the World Cup might change things around real fast.
The Europeans, they love football, but we love winning. We're into winning.
And it is no coincidence that's happening now. In the World Cup, Brazil has always been successful following a single hero story model. Their multiple star teams never succeeded. Perhaps because talents are used to overperform compared to the rest. If everybody's a super, no one really is. But that narrative is getting old. And just like all stories throughout human history, we might be evolving. And perhaps it's time to finally see something newer and more complex. The journey of the Prince, Neymar Jr., coming back from an almost retiring injury to lift the cup with the help of all the players who grew up inspired by him. Maybe it's not about one single hero anymore. One thing is certain though. In terms of Brazilian football, the Hexa will be the biggest celebration of the nation in decades. And it will be for sure a defining moment in people's lives.
Yeah, I think it's going to feel amazing. Sure, it's going to feel amazing, but amazing in a different way.
If you do not believe how much of a passion this sixth start is for the Brazilians, take André's word for it.
In simple terms, o Hexa vem.
O Hexa tem que vir.
Thanks for watching, and thanks Rodrigo and André for featuring the video and having the interview. You will be able to find the whole thing in the description down below. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing and liking this video in order for me to reach out more Latin American football enthusiasts. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed.